Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on women in hip-hop history. It's a very exciting time. Females are dominating the music charts like never before and setting new records. There seems to be no limit to their popularity, and they're doing it all on their own terms, building on the foundation set by trailblazing pioneers.
This Shantae is here to take care of business, so plug up the...
Legendary hip-hop artist Roxanne Shante is rap's first female star. She started out at age 14 in the 1980s as a battle rapper to earn money for her family, and later toured with the Juice Crew. The story of her extraordinary life was brought to the world in a Netflix biopic, Roxanne, Roxanne. She says there's one constant throughout the years.
Hip-hop has always been a reflection of our life, of what we're going through, of what we're dealing with. So yes, I would have to say that it is a reflection of what our young women are going through today.
Today's female artists master business moves as well as dance steps. Cardi B made history in 2019 as the first solo female artist to win a Best Rap Album Grammy.
I don't dance now, I make money moves.
In 2021, her debut single, Bodak Yellow, was certified diamond by the RIAA, making her the first female rapper to reach the milestone of 10 million units sold. Her song WAP with Megan Thee Stallion is 5 times platinum. Rapper and MTV star Justina Valentine says for women, there's the added pressure of their appearance.
People expect you to be perfect. Like, they always want females to be on. They want your makeup slayed. They want your hair laid. You know, what you have on, how does your body look? God forbid you have a little fat roll.
Artists like Queen Latifah, Nicki Minaj, and Rhapsody stand out as artists who made it on their own terms, with their own style. And that's major progress, says Dirty Harriet rapper Rod Digga.
We were always our own bosses, but there was a heavy reliance on that male affiliation, and I see now we're seeing women actually thrive without that. So that's a beautiful thing.
Opportunities for women are greater than ever, and so are the expectations. Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining me is the one and only Roxanne Shante. She currently is a host on Rock the Bells on Sirius XM. She is a legendary female hip-hop artist. If you know your hip-hop history, you know Roxanne Shante. She started rapping at 14, and she was, of course, the star of the Netflix special about her life called Roxanne, Roxanne. Shante, great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Also joining us, another legend, legendary rapper and actress Rod Digga. She's also the co-host of a podcast, what they call a Godcast, with Lord Jamar. Rod Digga, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also joining us is Justina Valentine. She is the longest running cast member on Nick Cannon's Wild and Out on MTV. She is a rapper, singer, songwriter, and famous among certain circles for her freestyles on the latest news. Justina, great to have you with us.
Hey, Lisa, longest running female castmate. I don't want DC to be on my head.
Oh, okay. Longest running female cast member. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say, such an honor to be here with you and Roxanne Shante and Rod Digga, queens in the game. And, you know, because of ladies like them, paved the way for myself to even do what I do. So thank you so much for having me.
No, it's great. It's great to have you. Shante, I want to start with you on this. You started rapping at 14, and it was almost like a money-making thing for your family. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, actually, that's what it was. I never wanted to be a rapper. I never thought that I was going to be in this whole hip-hop thing. I always felt that I wanted to be an attorney. And it just so happens that I have what is called the Nipsey Russell syndrome, which is the ability to freestyle at any time. And the next thing you know, I was doing battles and they were taking me around the city. And it actually was like a substantial income for my household, with my mom being a single mom. And it was like, oh, okay, hold up. There's a battle. There's some money. Let me go get it, bring it back, you know. And that's the way the whole situation went. And I'm very proud of that.
What did you learn from doing that at age 14? Because wasn't it like a betting situation too? They're like, hey, we got this fly young girl and wait till you hear how she can spit.
I learned to always bring somebody bigger than you to collect the money. you know? That's the main thing that I learned. But what I did learn was that when you come into the industry of hip hop, especially as a female, one of the main things that you must do is you must let them know what your talent is. You must put your talent first. You must tell them, like, look, I don't play no games. This is what I'm here to do, so that they take you seriously. Because, everyone is looking for the pretty girl. Everyone is looking for, thinking that, that you're there just to be seen and not to be heard. So you got to make your voice very loud.
Definitely. Rod Digger, tell us about your start in the rap game.
Wow. Well, my start goes back to Newark, New Jersey. I was part of a Jersey crew called the Outsiders, and we just pretty much battled our way all through the city until we ended up doing a huge collaboration with the Fugees, which ended up on their album The Score, which is like, then sold I don't know how many times platinum. And that was really like the breakout for us. And from there, I signed to Elektra Records through Q-Tip first. A lot of people don't realize I was Q-Tip's artist before I was Busta Rhymes' artist. So I signed my deal with Tip, and a few years later, unbeknownst to me, they were, Tribe was in the process of breaking up. So I think he just put a bug in his friend Busta Rhymes' ear, and I ended up featuring on his album When Disaster Strikes, and I was kind of like the breakout star from there. And ultimately, we put out our crew album Imperial, and Digga Digga Birthday Rashia became the the all roads just led, all the algorithms just led to, we need her album first. And then I was able to release my debut album in April of 2000 called Dirty Harriet. And the rest is history.
The rest is history. Dirty Harry. What about in terms of being a female among so many men, among so many powerful men and guys who were really at the top of their game at that time? What lessons or what beliefs did you kind of hold on to that helped you navigate through it? Because there were a lot of girls and a lot of young women that wanted to do that and just got sidetracked in various different things or got influenced negatively, didn't have any guidance. What kept you focused?
Well, the most important thing for me was I always remained cognizant of my reputation. So I was always mindful. Everything I did, make sure I don't, sleep with anybody, make sure I don't, put myself in any compromising situations that could be used against me later. And I just stayed, I always looked at the guys as my competition. Like in my head, it was me against the guys. I never looked at the women as my competition. I looked at the men as my competition. And I think it gave me that extra edge, that extra drive. And the guys always took me serious. Like, I think they just knew that when I stepped in the room, like, I wasn't coming to play. Like, you can sleep and think I'm some little naive, oblivious female if you want. You're going to end up getting chewed out on this record. So, it just worked out for me like that.
And that was it. Justine, I see you shaking your head when in agreement with what Rod Digger said. What about that for you?
Definitely. Well, when she was just saying, like, I don't see, the females as my competition, I'm going against the guys, I can relate to that so much. On Wild 'N Out, it's always like me going head to head with like the best battle rapper. Shout out to all my brothers, Conceited, Hitman, Charlie Clip, Sharon, DC, Carlos, Chico. So I'm the same way. Like, I'm always up against the guys. Like, just compare me to everyone who's the best. I don't care if they man, female, etc. And I started rapping also very young, and I'm from the county over from you, Rod Digger, Passaic County. So definitely, yeah, definitely.
Jersey.
A lot of Jersey here, a lot of Jersey in the, a lot of Jersey on it.
Jersey.
So yeah, I just started rapping really young, and I would always people would start buzzing about me like, oh, it's this Italian girl that raps this and that, and I would always be known for my freestyling ability. And then once people knew I could do it, and by the way, Roxanne, I watched your documentary, It's Fire, and I love both of you because I know you have that ability to freestyle. And that's, yeah, and you guys are, the illest. And that's what got me my notoriety, was when people found out I could freestyle for real. So then, once they know you could do it, they want to test your chin. So I was like, okay, rap about this. So I was all over rapping about what people would tell me to rap about, doing battles, and like Roxanne was saying, always have the big homie with you to collect the money when you win. And TV wasn't really my goal at that point. I just wanted to be an artist, a rapper, singer, and but it was my freestyling ability that got me recognized by MTV and by the producers of Wild 'N Out, since it is a improv music
Yes.
and comedy show. And it was that ability that got me on TV. And then, thank God for Nick Cannon and MTV. They changed my life and gave me that platform that I think it would have been a lot harder for me to get on just doing music, being a female, looking the way I look. That was, it was a tough path for me. And no matter how good I was, people didn't really want to give it up. And then, when God opened that door, TV, that's what really changed things for me.
Stay with us. There's much more to come. Shantae, when you were starting out, there was no social media. There are barely cell phones. What do you think? What changes do you think the social media presence that artists, male or female, really have to have a social media presence to even get recognized by the industry and get known to fans? How do you think that's changed the game for women? Has it made their music more accessible? Has it put other pressures? What's your take on that?
Well, one thing I can say is that it definitely has widened their platform. Anyone who had a small or a local platform now is international. There's no such thing as a local artist anymore, because as long as you have social media, you are going to be everywhere. You're going to be seen everywhere. I think the only downfall of it is when you make a mistake now, it is relived by the second every day, where that wasn't the case. If it was back in the days where I was in a club and you got punched in the face, you only got punched in the face once. The only people who could tell the story was the people who was there. And by the time you get a chance to, you can go and you can change the story or change the dynamics of it if you wanted to. But the main factor is you're not allowed to do that anymore, because someone has captured that and someone has taken your most private moment, or maybe even that moment where you were the most vulnerable, and now you have to relive it constantly. So I think that it means that they need to have a tougher skin now more than ever, because everyone knows everything.
Rodrigo, what about the accessibility? Because like Shantae said, the platform, social media, and Justina said the social media gives you direct access to so many more fans, and there's there's a lot fewer gatekeepers. Like if your song is hot, if your track is hot, you can put it out there and really generate a buzz on it yourself. But there's also fewer layers of protection. Where do you think that is?
I think it's scary, mainly because like the artists nowadays, like they're not really getting groomed with artist development and just being able to handle the pressures of fame. So you have, you have this thing going on now where, oh, the most algorithms, the most views, like these are the things that are going to blow you up. And if you don't have the proper guidance, or if you don't have somebody in your ear just kind of directing you against the perils of the world, you're finding yourself doing things to get the most views, whether it's good for you or detrimental. Like we've somehow become conditioned to thinking that the most views is the best views. And it's
Right.
like, but what are you willing to do to get these views? Are you willing to kill yourself? Are you willing to so there's a lot of dangers that are coming along with social media. And just myself being an artist, like it's great to be able to just put something out, especially if you have that following and that name already. It's great that it goes 101 places, but the downside is now every appearance I make, I got to write a different rhyme. I can't take my same verse and go from station to station like I used to do, once upon a time, because it wasn't going all over the place. But, things of that nature, I feel like most artists, especially from my generation, like we are learning how to recondition ourselves and just revamp the protocol that we had to do to promote ourselves. So I think there's an upside and a downside, but I'm scared for these youngins. They're really doing the most to.
No, there's so many wonderful
viral.
changes happening too. Justina, do you find yourself questioning yourself? Okay, well, why did people respond to this? Because you have a huge following on social media. Why did people respond to this, but they didn't respond to this? And I thought this was so good. Or, are there surprises? How do you handle that and keep your mind right?
Yeah, for me, I'm just constantly putting out content. So, like on TikTok, I have like 7 million followers. So, I'm putting out content every day. So, yeah, something might hit a little bit more than something else, but everything's going to hit to an extent. So, I'm not really too worried about it. And I've always been the type, I rather have the slow sizzle. I mean, my grind, even to get on TV and get in the position I'm in, was very, very hard. It was just a lot of opposition, a lot of no's. Didn't matter how good I was, how dope I was, stood on my head. It didn't matter. So I'm very thankful and blessed every step of the way. So I've never been the shoot to the top type. So I'm cool with the slow sizzle of keep going up. So I never want to do anything that jeopardizes, the level of respect I have for myself or that other people have for me. So I'm not jumping out the window for views.
Shantae, what about that? Do you think females are taking this seriously?
I think they are actually seen as more of a threat than any time ever. And the reason why is because they are definitely your top money makers. So the reason, anytime this industry is ran on money. So anytime that they see whatever type of artist it is that makes the most money, that is the artist that they're going to go after. So you will see so many more female rappers now because someone is saying, okay, listen, right now female rappers are making a lot of money. We're able to get a lot of sponsorship. They know how to handle their social media. They're able to bring people in, whether it's because a female artist comes with so many more things, makeup, dressing, hair, shoes, you name it. So now it's like, okay, we're able to get so much more out of them.
Rodrigo, what about that in terms of the way women are, the women's image? Because and also for merchandising, which is a huge part of the music industry right now. There's so many more things that can be merchandised, and the visibility. Women can get visibility a lot faster being on reality show, get a couple million fans of their own, and then decide somebody comes to them, oh yeah, you can rap too, and they get a little song or whatever. A danger that the female rap image is becoming a little diluted.
Well, like most of the complaints I hear, real, specifically, I would say would be the diversity as far as like the variations of females that you see on the main stage. I do think that is something that is sorely missed, the balance, because once upon a time you saw your tomboy, you saw your fly around the way chick, you saw your sex kitten, you saw these different variations of women, where I think nowadays we are seeing a lot of the same thing. So that would be the only I would say gripe that most people are having as far as the imagery of women. But at the same token, you got to understand, like we're in a day now where
The visual is more important than anything else.
Exactly.
Right?
So that is going to be, that is going to take precedence over everything else. And, it's up to you, the artist, and your team, to try to figure out how to cut through that noise and make your art speak for itself, make your brand speak for itself. And when the ones that are successful in figuring that out, we're seeing the results.
Shantae, what's your advice for the young ladies? I know you said bring somebody bigger than you to collect the money. We already got that one.
Absolutely. But no, I think honestly, I would say, and this is very, very important. As women, we can be emotional. Now, we hate to have that term, or we hate to have that label placed on us. But listen, you need to not make emotional decisions when it comes to your career. Your man can't be your manager. Just because he can manage to make you happy in the house does not mean that he is able to take your career to where it needs to be outside of the home. So you always need to separate that from the beginning. Also, too, never give anybody a position in your career that you cannot do yourself. That means if you have a spare moment, instead of going through and doing all of your makeup tutorials, take a tutorial on a little bit of accounting, so that at the end of the day, if you decide that you want to count your own money, you can do so. If you want to know about management, you want to know about management. You want to know about the promoters that people may be booking you with. Why? In case you need to have those relationships with it. Now, I'm not trying to take every woman out there and make her a rogue artist and say you can do everything yourself. No, but should you ever be in a position to have to do these things, including your hair and your makeup, you need to be able to do that. As a woman, we need to be able to do everything, because you never know when somebody's going to drop the ball just because you're a woman.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on women in hip-hop history. You can watch this episode again and share it with family and friends on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page. I'm Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind as your best weapon. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.